and the Rooyen and Franco also. I think, firstly, overall impressions. I mean, we all look at the scoreline and we probably think you could have done better, but the overall impressions of that outing. You hear me?
Now we can again. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Ivan, yeah, I said we can all look at the scoreline and we probably will criticize and think you could have done better. But what's your overall impressions of the game, both to you and Franco?
Yeah, thanks, Jan. I don't think the gap between us is exactly the points difference. I think there was 1 or 2 moments where we either switched off or just through pure quality they scored. But I think if you take the 80 minutes in the bigger picture and the fight and the competitiveness of the game, I think it was closer than what the scoreboard would suggest.
Ivan, sorry, you're still busy. Sorry, continue. Can I continue?
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. Hello, Ivan. It's obvious the difference, for instance, between line speed and.
Josh, 4 tries on your first game in South Africa for the Lions. How does that feel?
Yeah, great to get off to a good start.
Hello.
Walk in, so I think much credit, but yeah, I'll be just
we've got a cross feed here. Sorry, guys.
It's been a long, you've had quite a few weeks now. You finally got here to the first game. How did it feel?
Somebody must mute themselves. Somebody's got to feed.
You must mute yourself, guys.
Tough. But
Monique, we've got a cross feed here. Sorry.
They're just going to sort it out.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. We're just sorting it out now.
I'm sure we can try now. It sounds quiet.
Then you're finished?
I'm done.
Can I continue, Monique?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Sorry, start again. Obviously, the obvious observation is the line speed of the British and Irish Lions, the secure passes, the attack of the different channels, and they do that at about 2 or 3 times the speed of what we are used to. Would you suggest and agree with me that is absolutely the difference between the level where the franchises operate and where international rugby is, and that is the difference, and that is also the level to strive towards if there's one contribution to make towards that?
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. It looked like and felt like their speed to set when they want to play again, especially from line out to night, caught us offside. So I think that's a big lesson learned for us. It's not necessarily that they're running quicker, but they're getting there quicker to play and kind of catch you off guard, and they caught us off guard 2 or 3 times, to be fair. And then, like you say, they gave us a little bit of a bit different picture defensively tonight than what we saw against Japan. They were relatively soft against Japan with line speed, but obviously they did bring line speed tonight. And I think that the decision-making at rack time allows them to either slow your ball down or get numbers on their feet with good line speed, and obviously then with good physicality. And also think on attack, the ability to get into space where they identify space was good tonight. So I do agree with you that is probably the biggest difference between Test rugby and where we are currently, is the speed of execution and the speed of decision making.
Hi, Ivan. Hi, Franke. Ivan, Warren Gatlin het sopas genoem dat hulle so 'n bietjie aan hulle speelstyl moes wysig omdat hulle nie daai line speed op defense van julle gekry het nie. Voel jy dit was die geval dat julle by tye so 'n bietjie stadig van die lyn af was en hulle nie in hulle gesigte kon stuit nie?
Lieten, ek dink dit is akkuraat. En ek dink dit begin by die vaste faset. So vir die lyn staan af, het ons nie vinnig genoeg geset nie, dan het hulle ons ek amper omkant gevang met die eerste rak en dan het ons amper gescramble om te set voordat ons kan opgaan. So dit het verseker van ons lynspoed weggevat. Ek dink wanneer ons wel lynspoed gekry het, kon ons hulle onder druk gesit het en dit is seker een van die grootste lesse wat ons vanaand geleer het.
Even if I can ask you, I presume, without getting too negative, I mean, the lessons you can learn from this, would this assist you in domestic competition, perhaps in professional rugby going forward in Europe?
Yeah, definitely. I think speaking to the guys, was the collision a lot harder than what we expected? Not necessarily, but again, the speed of execution, the level of decision making was definitely higher than what we've experienced. And when you go to Europe, you're probably going to play against, on average, about 10 test players per team that we're going to play against. So definitely something that we need to learn and we need to get better by. And I think once you get better with that, it will obviously help you domestically as well.
Franco, from a player's perspective, can you just give us an idea of exactly how physical or fast it was compared to what you've experienced in domestic competitions?
Well, yeah, I think that there were some soft moments, like Coach said, but like you also mentioned, when we were set first and we were ready, we actually had good line speed and we could stop them. So yeah, there is a difference between the domestic and the internationals, and for a lot of players it was their first time testing themselves against international players. But I still feel there's a lot that we can work on, but also a lot we can take out of it. So.
Ivan, can you say you're from Sport 24? I know that in the Rainbow Cup, as you're supposed to play against European teams, do you feel that had you played against them, you'd have been better prepared for this particular fixture?
Good question. It's evident that the European teams their kicking game is a lot more polished, I think, if you can call it that way. They've got a great default kicking game. Their kicking from 9 is very accurate with great chases. The wingers always get up in the air. So if you look at it that way around, if we maybe have played in Europe, you would have seen it. Not that we're not doing it in South Africa. It's just that the execution of that is probably a little bit more accurate than currently what we're having. If I just refer to ourselves. And just, I mean, if you've played or experienced playing against certain individuals and you play against them again, you know what to expect. So I think bigger picture, if we have played in 3 or 4 games overseas against players like this, we probably would have been a little bit better prepared. But I mean, saying that, the reality is we didn't go there, so we can't sit here and say that's an excuse or we didn't know what to expect. Was it 23 test players that do things well, and if all 23 do things well, they put you under pressure? Definitely.
Ivan, Stephen here from Freedom Sports. A word on your loose Trier. A very nice game from the man sitting next to you. Vincent Tuka was absolutely immense once again. And I mean, Sibo Sangweni, 20 years old, almost scored what could have been one of the best tries of the tour. But just how impressed are you with how young they are, and yet how they didn't look out of depth and didn't let the occasion get to them?
Thanks, Stephen. There's a lot of young players that showed a lot of potential tonight. Like you've mentioned, Sabu, Vince and Franca, Emmanuel coming on, even Rooyen coming on. Ruben is 23 years old. There's a lot of youngsters that really showed tonight that there is a lot of potential. I think a game like tonight could potentially kickstart their career, and hopefully one day when they all play international rugby, they can look back at tonight and say they've realised that they're close, but they realised that they're not there yet. But immensely proud of their effort, their work rate, their work off the ball, their caring for one another. within even partaking or hiding, a lot of things to be proud of.
Last few questions.
Ivan, that was just perfectly summed up by you with regards to the last answer that you gave. But there's also a downside to that where a game like this could affect your confidence going further into the Currie Cup. How do you tell the guys, or what do you tell the guys to get past that and just to focus on what's happening in the Currie Cup now?
Thanks, Leighton. If you get individual and if you start blaming and looking for faults, and you don't learn the lessons, I think that's when it's bad for you. If you're willing to put your character on the line, confess and admit to the things you need to get better on, willing to learn, willing to stick together as a team, then I think it will have a positive effect. So it's up to the individuals, up to us as coaches, up to us all collectively to make sure that we learn the lessons and understand what it's going to take for us to go forward. And I'm confident and positive that that's where this group is. We did realize, and we do realize, that we got beaten tonight by a better team, but the gap isn't as big as what the score would suggest, and that is also exciting in a weird way.
Last question from me, Ivan. Thank you. I've listened carefully what you've said and on answers on these questions that were asked tonight, and you have confirmed, yes, it's a young group, but there's also some older guys there like Burger Odendaal, and I just want to use this as an example. There was a fantastic breakaway from Burger, a good attacking part of play, and it seemed like he typically did what happens in the domestic competition, that he either runs away from the support or the support's not following up fast enough with him. Obviously, that would be one of the biggest learning curves. And like I've said in the beginning, it's a privilege to play against these British and Irish Lions. And obviously, that is one of the things that you will take away from this. Am I correct with this?
Yeah, 100%. I think the ability, they've showed tonight, the ability to, once you get momentum or once you get a line break, the ability to not go to a ruck, for instance, or per se, and have the ability to keep the ball quick and keep it alive, I think is the difference. And I think, if I'm honest, currently we're not converting on line breaks good enough, and that might be two reasons. One, the support's not working hard enough to get to the player. And two is sometimes we tend to go to the ruck and then create our own medium or slow ball, and then you just got to restart again. So definitely the ability to make the 50-50 a 70-30, or ideally a 80-20, something we'll have to work hard on for the rest of the Currie Cup.
Even if I may ask, you are very competitive in the Currie Cup and all the local competitions. Do you think the other franchises will be able to beat the British and Irish Lions? Point one. And the second question, what advice will you give Jock going into the tests?
So let's start with the domestic competitions. I think it's another 80 minutes that Sean, Jake, and Dobbo can analyze them with. They showed a different picture tonight than what we saw against Japan, and the more footage you get of them, the more you can expect it. So I think that there will be there's a lot of lessons they could learn from tonight. Will I back a South African team to beat them? I always will back a South African team to beat them. Our blood is always red, our blood, but our blood's also green. And for Jock and them, as we saw Friday night, the Boks have got the ability to dominate set piece, and I think that'll go a long distance against the Lions. And also, I think other teams or international teams underestimate the amount of pressure that the Boks defense can put under you. And like the Boks showed Friday, is that they've got the ability to take you wide and go score. So I think it's going to be a crack of a test series. Another 3-4 weeks for the British Lions to train, but also for the Boks to train and play and get closer together. I think it's going to be an unbelievable test series.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.